Hey, this weekend we went on a hike. It was beautiful weather. It was like about 57, 60 degrees, something like that, up the Explorer Park in Virginia off the Blue Ridge Parkway. That video's up. Check it out. It was a really cool place. But then today the temperature dropped down to like 40. Not really great hiking weather, so I was sitting around the office thinking, what can I do? I want to put some content up because, people aren't out and about. Give them something to watch. And I thought of our trip to Big Bend, Texas. And this was back when we didn't film. This is 2017. We weren't vlogging at all, but I did take a lot of pictures. So with I have tons of pictures of Big Bend, which is one of my favorite places in the world. And so we left Roanoke 2017. We're going to a conference that Tina, where she works, she had to go to. So we went down there, actually went to New Orleans for a couple of days, and our conference was in Houston. And we stayed in Houston for a couple of days, attended her conference. And since we're talking about Texas, I got to go get my hat. So I'll be right back.
Yes, so while he gets his Texas hat, a little bit about Houston. We stayed there right in the downtown area, which was really nice at the Marriott. We were right across from the Houston Astros Stadium, which was pretty
Guess
neat
what?
in itself.
Here's my hat. Go ahead.
He's back with his hat. The stadium, baseball. That was we were able to visit the stadium, so we got to see a baseball game there, and that was quite an experience. Very cool stadium.
That's probably my favorite stadium now.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It's if you know anything about the Houston Astros Stadium, it's a inside stadium. So that was a unique experience, especially for baseball. So quite thoroughly enjoyed that.
It was cool. So then we left Houston after spending a couple great days there. Ate at Biggio's. If anybody knows baseball, Craig Biggio was there. Played for the Astros for a long time. Hall of Famer. He's got a restaurant in the Marriott where we stayed. You can see, did you tell them about seeing the design, the pool, the Texas pool from the Marriott? If you look down from our room, you can see this pool that was designed like the state of Texas. Really cool. Check out that picture. And then we headed on over we drove all the way across the state of Texas to Big Bend National Park. It's a long drive, but on the way we stopped at Langtree, Texas. We crossed the Pecos River. You'll see some pictures of that. And as soon as you cross the Pecos River a little bit, you can see Langtree, Texas, which was the home of Judge Roy Bean, who ruled in Texas for a long, long time. And we'll have something to say about that in just a minute. Okay. This is where Big Bend National Park is. It's in the deep part of Texas. And you sort of have to go out of your way to get to Big Bend National Park. So if you see where Big Bend is down here on the map, the nearest interstate is up here, Route 10, which comes out of, I guess, Dallas, San Antonio, points towards the east. So you can see you have to go out of your way, and there's to make a point to get to Big Bend, and that's why it's one of the least traveled national parks that there are, which is why Big Bend National Park is my favorite national park. Now you can also see that from Roanoke, right here, to Big Bend National Park, 24 hours if you go directly through Nashville, Arkansas, Dallas. But when we go, and we go down to New Orleans in Louisiana, then we cross over to Houston, go down below San Antonio, and then you end up in Big Bend National Park. The other thing about Big Bend National Park is that on our trip, we went to two really cool places. One was Terlingua, which is right here, outside of the park. Okay, so that's on the western side of the park. And then the other place that we went, one of the places we went to was in Boquillas Canyon, right here, Boquillas del Carmen, which is actually in Mexico, but there's Boquillas Canyon. And down here on the bottom, Santa Elena Canyon is over here in this area. And that's probably one of the most beautiful spots that I've ever been in, is Santa Elena Canyon. So anyway, we got photos of all that coming up if you want to check that out. It's pretty cool. All right, as you can see, Tina stole my hat.
Yep, I did.
But after you checked out those pictures of Houston, once we left Houston, we headed on, and actually we spent the night in Del Rio, Texas. We had a really good little Mexican place there. It's pretty cool. Spent the night there, and then the next morning we got up, and that's when we headed on to Langtree. Checked out where Judge Roy Bean was at. If you've never seen that movie with Paul Newman, Judge Roy Bean, you need to watch that. Great movie. Let me know if you've seen it. If you've seen that movie, I want to know, because that's a great movie. So then, also, after that, we headed on to Big Bend. And as soon as you get in Big Bend, you see this long road stretch going through these mountains.
It's pretty amazing. It's when we got to that point, and it's just undescribable. I mean, the pictures don't really do it justice, but it does help. And just looking at those pictures recently has really brought back those great memories. It's just so secluded and
and we spent that night there. We checked in as soon as we got there. It's a long drive from Del Rio there anyway, but so we checked in, got situated, and just enjoyed our lodge. You can see the little lodge. We got some pictures of there. You can see the camp store, and we're sitting right in this little valley on the Chisos Mountains, Chisos, Chisos Mountains, and campground. It's really, really cool. And so we just watched the sunset. Got some pictures of that. So check that out.
Gorgeous.
exhausting after that beautiful sunset. And we got up the next morning early because we knew it was going to be like 100 degrees or more. And so we went on a couple of hikes. We did the Burro Mesa pour off, and then, which is basically if it has a flash flood or rains, the water just pours off down this mesa and all the animals gather around. Of course, there was no rain that week that we were there. And so after the Burro Mesa pour off trail, then we headed out to Santa Elena Canyon, which is one of the most beautiful spots in the United States.
I would agree. Definitely.
It's amazing just to stand there. It's amazing. So that was that day. And so check out the pictures from there. So the next day at Big Bend, after the Burro Mesa pour off trail and visiting Santa Elena and then just hanging out at the park, seeing what we could get into, we then spent the night again and we drove up to Sam Nell Ranch. We did a hike there. Pretty cool place. It's like a little oasis right there in the desert. And then we went to Homer Wilson's Ranch, which is pretty cool. And I'll tell you, when we were going into Homer Wilson's Ranch, there's a sign talking about mountain lions.
Yes.
And
that was actually pretty scary. I mean, it was amazing, but it was pretty scary because you go down in it, and that's where you feel like you don't have the higher ground, I guess.
Right, and mountain lions will blend into that territory, so they could be staring at you,
not even know that they're there.
And but I was getting, it was when we got, the only cool spot at that time of day was in the house. So I was like, man, if I was a mountain lion, I want to be in this house. But so when we approached the house, I was like, man, I hope there's no mountain lion in here. So you can see the pictures. There was no mountain lion, thank goodness. And then from there we got in and we drove across the rest of Big Bend, and we went to the ghost town of Terlingua, which is an experience. Really cool spot. If you ever make it to Big Bend, you might as well make it to Terlingua.
Yep. And I think that's where you got the cowboy hat there.
That's where I bought this hat, Terlingua. I've been looking for years to find this hat, this great hat. So I found it, and so then we drove back, all the way back to Boquillas Canyon, and I'll tell you about that once you look at the rest of these pictures. Okay, by the time we visited Terlingua and we headed all the way across the park, you can look at the map that was at the beginning. Terlingua was on the western side of Big Bend, and Boquillas Canyon's on the eastern side of Big Bend. And so we drove all the way across. We were wanting to check out Boquillas Canyon, but it was getting late in the day. It was like 3 o'clock, something like that. It was 106 degrees. But so we're like, okay, well, we don't need to go in there. You can see the picture of us drive as we're getting ready to go into Boquillas Canyon. You can see how hot it was. And then, so we get out of the car. I look at the map. The map's on the picture of the map. It's only like a mile or something to Boquillas Canyon. We're like, it's 106. We got water. We'll be fine. So we get out of the car, start packing our stuff up because we're going to take this little mile hike, even though it's 106 degrees. I've hiked in 104, so has she. So, we know what it's like. You just got to have a lot of water. You got to keep your head soaking. It's not the smartest thing to do, but we did. And as we're getting ready to leave, tell us what we saw coming down the hill.
The mom with her 2 young baby girls. They were coming. They looked exhausted. They were headed to their car. The mom got to the car, turned it on, turned the AC on. The little girls were just crying, whining. She came over to us and it's like,
the mom,
the mom.
Mom came in. And don't go up there. Don't go up there. Like, she goes, look at my shoes, and she showed us the bottom of her feet, and they were melted.
Her shoes were melted. Although she did not have hiking shoes on, but either way, that's pretty hot to melt your shoes.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really hot. But for some reason, that still didn't deter us, and we went on up to the Boquillas Mountain Trail, and we you have to hike this little rise before you go down into the trail. So we hiked up the rails. We took a picture of us standing there. You could see just from us getting that at one point how hot we were. My face was red.
Yeah.
I was not in great shape back then. I was probably a lot heavier and probably shouldn't have been hiking there. But go ahead.
It was that heat, exhaustion, hot.
Yeah.
If you've ever
So
been
we-
in that situation.
So we kept on going, and then we lost the trail for a little bit. We found the trail. I started feeling my heart race, so we tried to find a little bit of shade, which is like a tiny little tree in the desert. It wasn't much shade, but we sat there. We didn't stand. There was nowhere to sit. We poured water on our head, but we stood under that tree for a little bit. We finally made it back to my Jeep. And man, I tell you what, we were so thankful to be back.
Yeah. And it just was like, we weren't even gone that long, but it took us a long time. We weren't that far in, that long
Right.
in,
Right.
but it took us so long.
But
Because
we're gonna have to go back
because
because we had to turn around because the way we were feeling, we didn't make it. We might have gone maybe even half a mile. We're like, this is because once you went down to the river, it wasn't 160 anymore. It's probably, I bet, 112 or
at least, yeah,
or more.
because
So.
the more you decline or whatever,
Right. But anyway,
the hotter. it goes.
still love Big Bend, Texas, and I'm still going to go back and finish that trail and see Boquillas Canyon for sure.
Yes. Gives us
Anyway,
a great reason to go back,
Yeah.
plus many more.
yeah, it's
that
an
we haven't done.
amazing place. We will go back there. It's out of the way,
Absolutely.
but if you ever get a chance, go to Big Bend, Texas. I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. We appreciate that, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.